Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, Cretans. How's everybody doing?
It's the Cretan himself. Yeah, we've never found anything better than Cretans, have we?
No, we really haven't.
And why would you look?
It's quality. Yeah, it's like, why? How are you going to improve on perfection?
Yeah. Someday I'll have to go back and listen to my first utterance of Cretans.
No, don't go back and listen to yourself. It's horrible.
No.
I've done it. You really don't.
That's true. Say, in the intro and then drink before they think. I thought of another one. Two guys that fine before they whine. How's that? Clever? Yeah.
Keep working on it.
Okay.
It's don't quit your day job.
Please.
Speaking of perfection, our sponsor. Blickman Engineering, BlickmanEngineering.com with two N's. They produce some of the most fantastic equipment to make your brewing better.
The Tower of Power.
The Tower of Power. Yeah.
He controls your mash.
It's funny. I think we have two sponsors with a Tower of Power.
Oh, really? Yeah, but we did.
Sorry. No, he's fantastic. Check him out, BlickmanEngineering.com. They're paying for the show, so you don't have to. So the least you can do is go to the site, check it out. Ask your local homebrew shop to carry Blickman Engineering. Go check it out. Lots of good stuff that they have. And like John's saying, the Tower of Power, he's creating new stuff all the time to make your brew day more easier, more pleasant, more consistent. Give you the tools to make great beer, and hopefully we're providing you some of the other tools to make great beer.
Yep. Check out your local homebrew shop. They can order this equipment from Blickman Engineering, and be happy to take your orders. In case you don't know what the Tower of Power is, it is a electronic control system for gas burners. So with using RTDs, which I forget what that stands for, but it's not a thermistor; it's a step up from that, and so that you can accurately measure the temperature of the wort and cycle the gas burner on and off automatically. Has bells and whistles. So if the burner fails to light, an alarm goes off.
Rings and whistles.
Yep.
Nice. That's what I want in a brew system.
Yeah.
I saw that at the conference. It was fantastic. I was blown away.
It's
thought
pretty
it was
slick.
great. Yeah, great stuff. And most importantly, support your local homebrew shop. When it comes time to buy things like books for your brew library. Palmer and I have written a few. The place to buy them is your local homebrew shop. Don't buy them on Amazon or something like that. I mean, Amazon's great. I use it. I think it's an excellent resource. But your local homebrew shop needs your support in order to stay there. And you may think, well, why should I support that guy to stay in business? Because they bring other people into the industry.
Yeah.
Oh, why do I care about other people brewing? Well, because when we get enough people brewing, then all of a sudden, those great hops, those great malts, all this great equipment becomes available to you. The more people into the hobby, the more that plays to getting you the products that you're going to enjoy and really developing your hobby into something that is fantastic. And your local homebrew shop is a critical link in that. So that's why it's important to go buy stuff from your local homebrew shop. Go in there, buy a copy of the books. That's fine. If you don't have a local homebrew shop that's carrying it and they don't want to carry it, buy it from the Brewing Network. Support this show. Absolutely important. But that local homebrew shop, critical part of the whole industry. Staying in business. So, when you can when you can send them a buck, and it's a good thing. So make sure you do that. All right. So we're going to do a Q&A show. We enjoy doing these shows because it gives us a chance to give some rapid feedback to people. We get a lot of questions into brewstrong at thebrewingnetwork.com. You can send in lots of requests and things for that for shows. If you got show ideas, go ahead and flag it with a show idea in the subject matter. If you got a question for the show, you want us to answer on a live Q&A, throw a question or a Q&A on the subject matter. We get a lot of those, and we've actually made a pretty good dent in the backlog.
Yeah. So we really appreciate all the questions because that's how we come up with show ideas. I mean, we'll say 4 people have sent in the same question. Well, let's tackle that.
Really? That's how we do it? Okay, yeah, that's how we do it. All right.
Your pin the tail method works great too. But
right. That internet search thing, that's, I turn off safe search, and then I just, start typing in words and see what comes up. It works really well.
You just like the blindfold.
I like the blindfold. Well, here, let me tell you something about my friend John Palmer, which you probably don't know, but I'm privy to, Palmer and I, we share a lot of intimate information. I've seen the man, getting ready in the morning. I've seen a lot of things. And one of the things I noticed is my friend John Palmer. He has a prosthetic big toe on his left foot. Something you didn't know about my friend John Palmer.
Huh.
All right.
Does that make 7 or 8 total?
What, toes?
Yeah.
Let's not ruin let's not ruin a future things you don't know about my friend John Palmer.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, let's not give away. I need to save these for the future.
Spoiler alert.
Did you catch the last one? He spent a summer in Spain studying bullfighting.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, of course you knew that. I revealed it to the audience. I know you didn't want to let people know that bullfighting is a very controversial subject, and you've held off on you've gone away from your bullfighting ways because because of the whole thing with the bulls.
Yeah. You're a drinker, not a fighter.
Not a fighter.
That's right.
Right. It was more about studying the history and the passion of bullfighting.
It really got so I was just spanking them as they ran by.
Is he talking about going hogging or going bullfighting? I don't know.
Well, and the funny thing is, these two are related. This is how he lost the big toe on his left foot.
It all comes together.
Got the prosthetic toe. Yeah. So, because you really can't bullfight without all your toes.
No, the balance is off.
Exactly. You see, so you've got to have that toe to push off of to get out of the way. So he had to get the prosthetic toe. So it's just. You see, he's a very complex man, and I thought I'd share some of that information with you. A lot of people are interested. They want to know more about the man that is John Palmer, and I'm just kind of
that's what you do, man.
Revealing those. Yeah, I'm there for you. I'm there for my Bruin brothers and sisters. All right. So what we're going to do today is the Q&A show, and what's our first question, JP?
Actually, it's more of a comment from the chat. Baruz goes, at one point I thought these were real until I knew that.
Of course he knows that. It happened to him.
Yeah, it's all real, Baruz. Don't worry about it.
It is real.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to you in season 3 of 24, Baruz. You kind of just left. All right, this comes from Andrew. He says, Jamil and John, first of all, let me just say thanks. Your show fucking rocks, and you guys do a great job bringing an intelligent answer to everything under the sun people need to know about brewing. My question is this. I'm a recent owner of a signed Brewing Classic Styles book. All of your recipes seem to be with a liquid malt extract. Fine by me. I would rather use liquid, but when you have some that are in increments of, say, 0.4 pounds of wheat LME, do you have any good ideas of converting these to DME so I can save a little money as well as use the leftover DME at a later date?
Yeah.
Thanks, you two. You're awesome and keep doing what you do.
Absolutely. And, it's generally about... Depends on the DME to LME, but generally about 80% DME, John, to an equivalent amount LME. So you have your LME, you have a 0.4 pound, take 80% of that, you can use DME. Right. And the thing that's most important when you're choosing extract, you will use the freshest extract that you can get. Now, if you can get nice, fresh liquid malt extract, that's what I would use. If there's any doubt about that, the dry malt extract has a much longer shelf life and tends to be the better choice. If your liquid malt extract has been sitting there a month or two, go dry.
Right.
Our friend Bob Hansen at Brew really taught us that. He's like, liquid malt extract is great, but the dry is going to be, less oxidized, more shelf stable, things like that. So if you're at a shop that can't turn the liquid over quickly,
get some dry.
Yeah, opt for the dry.
Yeah, I have had great luck, great success, I should say, using bulk liquid malt extract from the homebrew shops. They order in a 55-gallon drum, and they're turning over those drums every week or two.
Yep.
So it works out real well. But yeah, if there's a variety, say like the wheat or another flavor like Munich, you're probably not going to be able to get that in liquid, and you'll need to go for the dry because that way you're assured of a better freshness for a more scarce product.
Well, and the only pure Munich that I'm aware of is liquid and from Fireman.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think they're the only ones that are still doing Munich as an extract, 100%. And so the recipes in the book though are done 100% Munich, so you can go ahead and substitute out a 50% Munich, a 40% Munich, a 60% Munich, whatever it might be. There's different blends. So what you can do is get different extracts at your shop and ask them how much Munich is in this. If it's 50% Munich, then you go ahead and just double the amount of Munich extract in the recipe. So if it's a pound in the recipe, you go ahead and do 2 pounds, and then just reduce your base malt by a pound.
Right.
So you end up with that full Munich flavor, and you can go ahead and adjust that way. So that's why it's done that way.
Yeah. I have a good question to tag onto this. This is from Chris. He says, I noticed that some recipes call for LME, liquid malt extract, in portions smaller than are sold in stores. My question is, can unused LME be stored safely? If so, how do you store it and for how long?
John?
Store it in the fridge or the freezer. Put it, cover it tightly and purge the headspace if you can. I mean, if you tend to store it for a long time. But temperature is the primary consideration. If you can get that, if you can stick it in the freezer, it'll keep quite well. But storing it warm, it won't last very long at all.
It's interesting, like hops, yeast, malt extract, grains, anything. Temperature is the thing. Oxidation happens faster, spoilage happens faster. Everything happens faster at elevated temperatures. Our friend Dr. Bamforth, Charlie, he's fond of saying, the rate of staling happens twice as fast for every 10 degrees C. And same thing goes for malt extract as it does for beer, as it does for just about everything. Hops. So get it as cold as you can, and that really slows down that process, and it should help quite a bit.
Oh, and the conversion from liquid to dry is roughly 42 points per pound per gallon for dry malt extract, and 36 points per pound per gallon for liquid malt extract, which works out to about ratio of 6 to 7. You divide there, so you need 6/7 as much dry malt extract as a liquid malt extract amount.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. And when we come back, we'll answer more of your questions right after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
Hi, this is Push from the Brewing Network, and I want to tell you about the Brewmaster's Warehouse and how you can get 10% off your next order. I'm a pretty techie guy, but I've never seen an online store like this. It's awesome. Go to brewmasterswarehouse.com and click on Brew Builder. You can whip up a custom recipe so easily even Sven could do it. Seriously, it's slick. You can share your recipe with your own logo and notes to the Brewmaster's database if you want. And the best part, it keeps a running tally of the beer you're building while you're doing it. Then, bam, click Buy Recipe, and your cart is filled and ready to go with helpful suggestions in case you forgot something. This thing is amazing. Brewmaster's Warehouse is run the way a home brewer would do it, with great service, fast turnaround, and $6.99 flat rate shipping. Brewmaster's Warehouse and the Brew Builder blew me away. Check it out today at brewmasterswarehouse.com. I'm serious. And don't forget to put BNARMY in the discount code box for 10% off your order. Check out brewmasterswarehouse.com. Cheers.
Downtown Joe's, located in the historic Oberon building in beautiful downtown Napa, California, offers an award-winning brew pub experience from 8:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day. For 15 years at the corner of 2nd and Main, Downtown Joe's has been voted Best Night Spot 7 times and Best Brew Pub for the last 4 years in a row. Brewmaster Colin Kaminsky's handcrafted ales, like his Tail Wagon Amber Ale and Double Secret Probation IPA, are the perfect accent to riverside dining, live music, and a relaxing outdoor patio. Don't miss the Beer of the Month, special rotating taps, and the BN Army Member Special. Wear your BN gear, get 10% off your beer. Visit downtownjoes.com to make reservations, peruse their extensive calendar of events, or just read more about their fantastic beers. Come enjoy the fine beer, food, and music. Downtown Joe's, the award-winning brew pub where you'll feel at home.
A heretic is anyone who does not conform to an established attitude, doctrine, or principle.
If you love craft beer, you're already a heretic.
The very first thing we did when we started looking at the beers that we would brew, we got rid of all those recipes. We started from scratch. We've been pilot brewing the most creative things that we could think of and the most interesting things. We've completely gone away from style.
Heretic Brewing Company is opening this spring in Pittsburgh, California, and you can be a part of it. Visit hereticbrewing.com and facebook.com/hereticbrew. Get the latest updates on the brewery and upcoming beers. Show everyone how you celebrate great beer as a heretic.
It's a fairly powerful word. Being a heretic, that means you're not settling for ordinary beer. You are going with flavorful, creative, bold, interesting beers. A heretic is looking for the best beers out there.
Be a heretic. Don't drink ordinary beer. Summertime has arrived, homebrewers, and the fine folks at More Beer are thirsty. With the arrival of summer's heat, More Beer's got you covered with great deals on temperature control and some fantastic lawnmower beer kits. Renko and Johnson temperature controllers, thermowells, and thermometers, as well as light and refreshing beer kits you're going to love this hot summer. Stay on top of your homebrew's temperature and keep your kegs topped up too. Summertime big-time beer and gears from your friends at More Beer and morebeer.com.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
We're having fun in the studio.
Yes, we are.
Well, and here's a bonus. What you don't know about my friend John Palmer. He was a backup singer for the Backstreet Boys. That's a bonus from the chat room. Bonus, what you don't know about my friend John Palmer. I did not know that about you, though. But
well.
the chat room tells me that is actually true.
Yep. It's amazing what you don't know about me.
Well, that's true. We've spent a lot of time together. We've shared some hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through your personal effects while you weren't in the room. And, yeah, now I know. I know a few things about you, but I did not know that. So
Lots of adult males carry stuffed animals.
Right. It was the crying and cuddling with the stuffed animal at night that really kind of freaked me out. I'm sorry, but
Lots of adult males have buried trauma.
Buried trauma. No. Yes. So I'm not sure if that Backstreet Boys one is true or not, but I'd heard that in the chat room, so I just thought I would mention it. All right. Back to our...
It was probably really 98 degrees is what it was.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to say it.
Air supply.
Just to stay in sync. Yeah.
I think air supply is probably more
That goes
likely.
with our aeration show, yeah.
Menudo would have been better. All right, here's a good question from Westco. Hello, John and Jamil.
Hello.
We all know that as soon as a beer is brewed, there's only a certain amount of time before that beer hits its peak, then starts to go downhill. For really pale beers, this can be a short period of time.
Yes.
I was wondering why you can make a very pale lambic and it can taste great after years of aging, but an American blonde ale is going to taste like shit after the same amount of time. Hope my question makes sense.
Pardon me. It makes perfect sense, and that's an excellent question because I had never really thought about that. Huh.
Well, now's your chance.
Hops is one reason. In a pale ale, a great part of the beer character is the hop profile. The aroma.
But I think he was saying like a blonde, American blonde. Not a lot of hops.
Yeah,
American wheat, not a lot of hops.
Yeah, but there is a hop character that's a component of the beer. Yeah. Whereas in a sour, you're not looking at a fresh hop character. You're looking at a beta acid character. Mm-hmm. So which that isn't going to change, or at least it's not going to negatively change in terms of flavor with time. In a lambic or a sour, you've already got several oxidation reactions that have taken place. And that's part of the part of the final character of that beer.
So wait. All right, so I would agree with you on the hop character thing. So it's like why you can make a Pliny the Elder clone, right? And it tastes great for a month, and then it tastes horrible.
Right.
Not necessarily horrible, but quickly the hops are dropping off, and things are just kind of going south.
Right.
But you also get an oxidation character in the malt. And in pale beers, very quickly. So if you were to make a beer that is, very low hops, American wheat, blonde ale, something like that, where hop character is very low, it's not a lot of hop, alpha acids, beta acids, whatever, and those beers go south very quickly as well. And I think it's the pale malt. There's very little antioxidants like you get in the darker ones with the highly kiln malts, and I think you get an oxidation character of the malt that remains and the alcohols and things like that, and that really drives it south. Now I think what's working on the lambics and things like that, lower alcohol, so you don't get those alcohol oxidations. There's not a lot of residual malt there.
Right.
Really very low finishing gravity. I think there's not a lot of sugars and things like that to oxidize, and I think that adds to it. And I think, like you're saying, you've also got some oxidative character that's part of the style, but also there's a lot of organisms still alive in that beer that are kind of consuming that oxygen as it comes in and kind of protecting it in an odd way. So you've got Brett and you've got bacteria and things like that are all still alive.
Well, so that's just like the case of a bottle conditioned beer versus a filtered beer. I mean,
yeah.
So keeping the beer on the yeast is going to help preserve it longer. In a lot of cases, in terms of oxidation character.
Well, see, and I think so, but your standard, Saccharomyces, I think it dies over time.
Yeah.
A shorter period of time, but you have Brett that seems to hang around. You have I think there's some ability to continue to consume the micro-oxygen. And maybe that's also part of that whole, lambic, sour beer culture thing.
Well, also, I mean, isn't it just the flavors as you age it longer? Those flavors are more predominant, so maybe it's covering up the kind of subtle differences, the changing in malt. Also, I've had old lambics like 5-7 years, and they kind of taste like shit. They kind of just taste like a lot of acetobacter, and that's about it.
Right.
So I would say no. I don't think that just because it's a lambic, you can lay it down for X number of years and it's always going to be fantastic.
That's a good point. I think and this is maybe based off of the claim that I make all the time. It's like, look, your pale beers are only going to last for a few months. And your dark beers will last for years. And the guy's saying, well, wait. You have these lambics. They're pale. They're lasting for years. You're doing 1, 2, 3 year aged beers, and you're blending them and things like that. So I think that's what I think those factors are extending the life of the Jesus, John. I think they're extending the life of those beers.
Yeah, I think
making a year or two possible. As JP says, these beers even then, they fall off at a certain point. There's a certain limit to how long they are going to live.
Yeah, I think you also if you kind of consider it in terms of oxidation potential of the style, again a blonde, pale malt, not a lot of antioxidant property. Maybe lots of potential for things to go bad. Versus a pale sour beer where a large part of that potential is already gone bad, and you have a lower potential for change.
It's not gone bad. It's become perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, or potential for change. Let's call it.
Right. Well, and that's an interesting point, John. Potential for change. Does a bottle of water become oxidized?
No.
Right. And why doesn't it become? Because the water itself is not becoming. There's
fairly inert.
Yes, there's not something to oxidize for the oxygen molecules to attach to, and I think when you're talking a lot of residual malt and residual sugars, those things will oxidize.
Right.
Unless there's something to prevent it, like the darker kiln malts or something like that,
where it's already formed a melanoidin, which is not going to oxidize more.
Right. Or in something where everything's been reduced down to a very low level already.
Yeah.
And you've got a very low finishing gravity. I think that those are going to be a little more shelf stable. Those without hops and really low finishing gravity and other characters that kind of mask the oxidation, all those factors are kind of playing a role.
Yeah, I think we've answered that.
Perfect.
I do too. I think we actually came up with a good answer.
That is a good answer.
My.
Our reputation's intact.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, that's true. I thought it was an excellent question, though. Really, really good question.
Yep. Yeah, I thought so too. Eagle Dude in the chat says, In an effort to reduce unnecessary contact with yeast, starter, and wort, I would like to sanitize my conical, make the starter in the conical, and then transfer the cooled wort directly onto the starter in the conical. Is this a good idea? If not, why?
One more time.
So what he wants to do is he wants to make his starter in his conical and then pitch on top of, or not pitch, but rack on top of that starter that's already in the conical.
Right.
Just to reduce unnecessary contact.
I think that's great, especially, if you can, it sounds very pro-brewerish, I would say. Especially if you can do that. The only thing is, that starter wort tends to not taste that great. And if you can keep the, if you're doing this at high Kreuzen, where all the growth has already occurred in the yeast, and the yeast is most active, that's the time to go ahead and rack onto it. My only concern would be that the volume of the starter be 5% or less than the volume of the beer. I think 5 is kind of about my cutoff, where past 5, I really start noticing the starter wort contribution. Below 5, it's like it doesn't seem like it's an issue.
Yeah, I agree. I think also don't make lots of work for yourself trying to get a 1% improvement, unless you're already unless that 1% is your real goal. I'm gonna keep doing my starters in an Erlenmeyer flask on the stir plate, and then just dumping the whole thing in, or throw it in the fridge and let it settle out. So I'm reducing the amount of starter beer that I'm adding. I'm not sure if I'm hearing his question correctly, but I'm not sure if he understands his goal with respect to trying to keep everything in that one vessel.
Well, I think his goal is to avoid contamination and transfer and exposure to air and things like that.
But exposure to air of the starter, non-issue.
Well, the air with dust and bacteria and wild yeast. So I think if he can make it in his closed vessel, he's sanitized it. He's sure that the air inside that vessel is clean.
Yeah,
and he does a starter, and then he pumps the wort in through a closed transfer. I think that's great. Because then you positive pressure out of that, and you're just blowing air out of that. I think it's essentially very pro-brewerish, if you ask me.
Well, essentially what you're doing is you're making a small batch of beer,
right,
and letting it ferment in your fermenter,
exactly, and then racking
on top of it. Right?
Yeah. Good point, JP.
Here's a good question from Rob. He says, Hey. I really enjoy your show and have learned quite a bit listening to it. My in-laws are gracious enough to be taking my wife, son, myself, and JP to Germany this summer. I just threw that last part in. Hope it works. Was wondering if you folks might take a moment to suggest any must-see brew sites. Rumor has it we will be in Munich and Cologne and in between. Been brewing for about 2 years now and love the process and the art. Will be a brewer for the rest of my life. Thank you for your time and brew strong.
Well, I would tell you this. If you're going to go to Cologne, you have to go to Dusseldorf. It's just up the road, a small distance. In the train, you can get there quickly if you're in Cologne, or you can drive it within 30 minutes tops between the two locations. And Dusseldorf is, to me, that is fantastic. There's places there where they've brewed beer for 800 years at that same spot. Now, they've upgraded their equipment over time, but it's still, pretty, it's the same sort of recipe, same sort of process, and, it's just unbelievable. If you're a beer geek, Dusseldorf, go walk the Altstadt and stop in at as many of the places you can, chat with the locals, enjoy it. Absolutely, just fantastic. The Cologne and the Kolsch, it's great, but it's down to just a couple of breweries that brew all the Kolsches. So there's still like a dozen or so different Kolsches, but they're brewed by just a handful of breweries or a couple of breweries now. They're contract brewing their recipes now, so it's fine. It's just kind of a different thing. But Dusseldorf, that's special for me. That's something. So that's what I would
target,
suggest.
huh?
That's what I would suggest if you're going to be there. it's a not miss. And Bamberg, if you can do Bamberg or something like that, also very special. How about you, Palmer? You got any suggestions for people?
I've never been to Europe, so I'm kind of left out on this one.
What we need to do is get you fired from your job, and then convince the wife that it's important for you to tour Europe to further your beer career.
Can't you write it off at this point, Palmsy?
Yeah, I could. It's just a question of vacation time and family time.
I think you need to tour the Water of Germany section for your book, your next book on water.
Yeah, I should. Well,
Water of Germany.
I spent 3 months drinking water in Germany.
Yes. I tasted the water here. It tasted fine.
Now on to the Czech Republic.
Yes. Now I can write the whole thing off. All right.
Jeff writes in, "Hey, Jameel and John. If I enter a mild in a competition with an original gravity of 1040, which is 2 points high, will it still be considered a mild? Or should I enter it into multiple subcategories like a Southern English or a Northern English? It finished at 1010, 20 IBU, 20 SRM. Thanks for all the great info. Cheers."
All right.
Coastal Brewer.
All right. So here's the thing. If it... whatever it tastes like, that's what you should enter it as. If it tastes more like a Southern English or a Northern English, then enter it as one of those. If it tastes more like a mild, it seems more like a mild, then enter it as that. It doesn't really matter what the starting or finishing or what you added. People are like, I added coffee. I can't taste it all, but I've got to enter it as a coffee beer because I put coffee in it. And it's like, well, if you can't taste it, then no, it's not a coffee beer. You'd have to be able to taste some coffee character. It's the same thing on these. Don't worry about it. Taste it. Say, oh, this is an excellent mild. Or, no, this is a little big for that. Or this is, more like a Southern English brown or Northern or whatever it might be. Just say, oh, this has really got the character. Or, blow those off and say, oh, it's really hoppy and it's, higher alcohol. Yeah, this is a great American brown. Whatever it might be, that's what you enter it as. It doesn't matter what your process was or any of that other stuff. Ignore all that. Just enter as one of those. All right. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll do more of your questions right after this.
BN Army, HopTech has a great discount waiting for you. Do you often find it difficult to find specific specialty ingredients for your home brew recipes? Well, listen to this. HopTech stocks 59 different grains to choose from, 39 varieties of pellet hops, and 8 kinds of whole leaf hops. And HopTech not only carries Y yeast and White Labs yeast for you, but also Fermentus, 04, 5, 6, 23, 33, and T58 Belgian yeast, plus Cooper's, Nottingham, and Windsor yeasts. Got your recipe ready to go? Pick up some great brew gear like new long and short sleeved shirts, games, and more. HopTech's new website is being updated every day with new items. If you don't see it, call the shop. They're open 6 days a week. BN Army and AHA members get a 10% discount, and active military personnel get 15% off. Visit HopTech.com today for great selection, great service, and a great discount. HopTech.com.
Pintley is your personal beer connoisseur, and you don't even have to leave a tip. Pintley.com learns your taste in beer. Create a free account today and start by rating a few beers. In just a couple of clicks, Pintley will get to know you and your personal preferences. You won't believe how accurate Pintley's amazing algorithm can be as it learns what pleases your palate most. Personal beer recommendations, tasting notes, and now their new app for your Android or iPhone smartphone. Pintley also gives away incredible prizes each month. Prizes like free craft beer for a year. Visit Pintley.com right now to see how it works or to create your own free account. Pintley, a new kind of beer website that only recommends beer you're sure to love. Pintley.com.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in a can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack can.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of our 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Our Williams Belgian Pale Extract is mashed with pure Belgian 2-row malt and a small percentage of Belgian wheat malt for an authentic Belgian character you just can't get from other extracts. Or check out our unique fermenters, 2.5-gallon kegs, paintball tank-based draft beer equipment, bottling aids, and much more. We even have our own line of precision hydrometers. Go to WilliamsBrewing.com to browse our vast selection. That's WilliamsBrewing.com. Orders placed by 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're doing a live Q&A, and I want to tell you about one of our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ladies and folks, and everybody in between. Are you looking to spice up things in the bedroom? Been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. But that's not all. Oh, no. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs. And these are DVDs, I believe, that you choose. So it's not just, random, goat and green jello sex. For a little inspiration plus a free extra gift so sensual we can't mention it on the radio. And to top it all off, we'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order, and no, we are not teasing. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. Get 50% off one item when you type Jamil, Jamil, for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and free shipping. So it's a pretty good deal.
It was top it off intended to be a pun?
Top it off? What? Oh, to top it all off. No, I don't understand that. Just use offer code JAMIL at adamandeve.com. They're a sponsor of the show. And like any of our sponsors, check them out and support them if you can. Enjoy the products if that's what floats
if you enjoy those.
No. From all I heard, good company. They treat their customers right and have decent pricing. So I'm kind of proud to have them as a sponsor. Anybody that's
it's a good-looking website.
Yeah, I've checked it out. I've been married 20-some odd years, so I suppose I should be ordering something at this point. But I don't know. I'm too busy with the brewery.
Been there, done that, but. Yeah.
I'm too busy with a brewery to worry about pleasure in my bedroom.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, I've been living in a freaking Antioch hotel for the past 3 months at the Antioch Days Inn in Ramada, and it's just because we're working 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. 7 days a week. It's brutal.
Being a professional brewer is
that always spices things up too.
It's so much freaking work. And that's one of the things. All these brewers. You think, why are they a little put off with all these questions and stuff? It's like people are just trying to, there's people trying to bleed you dry. They ask, want, give. And it's like, wow, if I was to respond to all these and fill all these requests, we would be out of business next month. I cannot give away $10,000 worth of merchandise to all you folks who are asking.
Yeah.
So, if it's a nonprofit, you have a chance. If you're asking for a for-profit event and you don't have federal nonprofit status, please don't ask. That's the rule. You got to be nonprofit. And you're like, well, you could afford to send me some shirts.
Sure.
Like, dude, we'll be out of business if we send everybody shirts. They cost lots of money to make the shirts. It costs lots of money to ship. All the time it takes, it's like, I love to support everything. But
unfortunately, it does get to be quite a burden.
It's a burden. So, and I never really appreciated that, and then you ask somebody, just a simple question, you're just like, God, why'd that guy snap my head off? It's like, because everybody's been hounding them for stuff, and all you're asking is for a little bit of information or something like that, and they're just worn out from this.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm seeing a whole everything in a whole new light, and I'm just amazed at people that are able to still respond so positively. So there's so many great folks. Vinny at Russian River, Matt at Firestone, Mitch at Stone. Just wonderful people that have done so much and continue to do so much. And I'm sure they're getting a barrage of requests. It's just that's just a testament to those guys. I'm not nearly that nice, so I'll probably I'll send you. It'll be ASCII art of a big FU if you ask. So I'm just saying. Well, maybe not quite that bad, but don't be shocked if I do. All right. Back to the questions.
Baruz in the chat wants to know. This is a great story, by the way. So a local Houston competition is having a, quote, Brewocalypse category this year, where you submit a beer and they put it outside in a shed for a year. The beer has to survive a Texas winter and summer and then be judged in fall of 2012.
Uh-huh.
He's wondering what style would best survive high storage temperature swings, and still, 1 year later, being stored in the heat. Be a good example of the style.
Oh, easy. Russian Imperial Stout.
That's what he goes. Russian Imperial Stout, Baltic Porter, something big and dark. Thanks.
Russian Imperial Stout.
Yeah?
Yep. Clearly.
Texas heat is not welcoming.
Right, but those highly kiln, the abundance of highly kiln malts in that thing, and the low hopping and all that, I think it's just right there. That'll protect it.
I'd hate to be a judge with that.
Well, I'm going to Houston. I'm doing the Blue Bonnet.
Uh-huh.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
In Houston?
Yeah.
This October. I'm all booked. I'm going to be there.
Do it.
Got my flights. Cool. Going to be fun. Maybe I can take some Heretic gear with me or something
and sell it.
And sell it for double the price. Yeah.
Do you have anything else going on this summer, Jamil? July or August?
July we're going to be in. I already have Tony's Darts Away in Burbank, California.
Have you been there yet?
No, I've never been.
It's a hole in the wall.
Yeah,
but they're rad. They're rad folks.
Nice.
They have a lot. They're only California beer. No out of state beer.
Cool.
And they have two sections of the menu. IPAs and everything else.
Right.
It's pretty good, man. They it's pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
When are you doing that?
July 20th, I think. Crap. Although I'm not 100% sure. What I am 100% sure on is 6 p.m. July 21st, Ladyface in Agora Hills.
Right.
Okay. And Peter Simons and I on our trip down to NHC, I'm like, well, I see this place listed, Ladyface. It gets really good, reviews on beer mapping. It's kind of on our way. The timing works out. Never heard anything about it. I'll go check it out. I'll tell you, it's freaking fantastic. fantastic.
All I hear about that brewery.
That place is awesome. The brewer is awesome. The beers are awesome. The food's awesome. The service is awesome. Everything about that place, 100% perfect.
Really?
Yeah. I was really impressed with them at NHC when they were pouring.
Have you ever been to their location there?
I haven't, and it's it's not that far.
To go. You got to go. Take the family. It's fan-freaking-tastic.
How far is that from Disneyland, John? Do you know that? That's my relation.
Hour and a half, maybe an hour. It's on the way.
It's on the way.
Yeah,
well,
I mean it's really not out of the way. If you're driving, you go 5 to Disneyland.
Well, I go 5 to visit my buddy in Lancaster. Usually,
right.
Pushy.
So just past Lancaster, right, and then you swing a right down. Just a few miles off of 5.
Really,
it's really not that far.
I'll have to do it next time.
Yeah, Agora Hills,
all right.
Ladyface,
all right.
Just fantastic people. Everything, I cannot say enough great stuff about that place. I was just so thrilled with the quality of everything there.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
I can't wait.
Yeah, on the July 21st, going to be there 6 p.m.
Okay.
Me and Pushy are going to be there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you there.
All right. You going to be there? Sweet.
Yeah.
We're going to put you on the list.
Okay.
You have to be there now. July 21st, 6 p.m. Palmer.
You could do a book signing.
Yeah. Bring some books.
Okay. I hate to push myself like that, but...
Well, come on, Palmer.
People appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. He's like, I don't want to...
They want to know, man.
Push anything, and people are like afraid to ask for a signature. I'm like,
yeah, they shouldn't be, but I mean...
They shouldn't be, yeah. Exactly.
Well, you both are pretty ugly dudes. I wouldn't approach you.
Well, and since we're usually making out, it's like, I don't want to interrupt them while they're kissing. It's like, well, it's okay. We can do it all the time. You're not interrupting anything special.
All right, I'm getting a little steamy in here. That's for sure.
So, going to be there. And got a bunch of other beer events that are coming up. But, Ladyface, I'm excited about that one. Hopefully the Tony's darts away the night before. So
it's a good joint.
Going to be there.
Brian emails us and says, hey, guys, question about your book, Brewing Classic Styles. The current hop chart on page 44 is the most useful hop chart I've seen, and I refer to it with every recipe I'm considering brewing. It's extremely helpful when designing my own recipes. I just wish all the hops were on there. Any chance of keeping an online version of it updated as new hops are introduced?
Well, I'll tell you, that was Palmer's brainchild right there. I threw in some kibitzing and suggestions, but that was his brainchild and mainly his work. So, what do you say, John? Are you planning an update to that bad boy?
That's a good idea. Okay, I'll work on that.
That was easy, man.
Well, you know what we should do is to get Brentelson in on that.
Yeah,
and say, Matt, what do you think? Play some hops on this for us. Give us some tweaks.
Yeah,
because that guy knows everything about hops. So, it'd be cool to get his input, and then post it online.
Yeah,
we could do that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
Socks Side in the chat asks, I made a rogue dead guy clone, and I used the Y yeast Pac-Man yeast. On fermentation day 4, and it's starting to crawl. How high should I raise the temperature to stir it back up? It's at 66 degrees now. And he said he started and held it at 60 degrees until today, and now it's at 66. Is that too high?
No, most of your growth is happening early on. And, you probably, 60 is awfully low. I know people say, Pac-Man will do 60. If you're pitching the proper amount of real, fresh, healthy yeast, then yes, it'll do 60. But if you're under pitching for some reason, the pack you started from wasn't quite healthy enough, things like that, then that's where you run into trouble, and you need to be careful. So all these folks, I get emails about, I did a lager, I started at, 45 like you said, and, I did all the starter right and all that. It's like, if you don't have the proper pitch of absolutely vibrant yeast, that's like a recipe for disaster. This is why the yeast company is going, start your lagers at 55 or 60 and then, slowly drop them down or something like that. It's like, because if you're going cold, you can make a great beer that way, but if you don't have the yeast health and quantity to pull it off, it's just going to stick there. So,
Did he say what day of fermentation this was? Where it was 66?
Day 4.
Yeah, so I would say it's probably safe to ramp it up even a little more, say up to 70.
Whatever growth was going to happen has happened. Just crank it up.
All right, great. Adam from Carlsbad says, "Hey guys, first off, thanks for the great show. You have definitely helped me become a better brewer." This obviously was meant for a lunch meet or something. I have a question about repitching yeast. I mostly brew IPAs and only use a primary fermenter. Is it worth my time to wash the yeast and repitch? I'm pretty lazy and don't really mind spending the $6-7 for a vial of yeast, but if it makes my beer that much better, I'm in. What do you guys do with your yeast cake from your IPAs?
Yeah, I'll wash them.
Sounds like you just got talked into it. Y'all? Sounds like a dare. I'll do it. I don't care.
I'll take a washcloth. Do it.
I'll do it. Whatever. Yeah. Sponge bath.
If you can go ahead and rinse out that. I think that the biggest trick, and this is one thing Mitch at Stone kind of brought home to me, is they repitch off of their Stone IPA, and the reason they do is because it's the one that they brew most often. It's vibrant, it's healthy, and they're getting really good results off of that. When they tried to switch to doing their lower alcohol, lower hop beers like Levitation, they don't brew it as often, and the results were not quite as good. Yeast do best when they're fed regularly and they, get this constant feeding. They tend to really get, very healthy. So the IPA is not necessarily a problem. The bittering's not, the higher the bittering, it does affect viability. It coats the cells, but it's more than offset by, the freshest yeast. So if you're brewing your IPA, every week, every couple of weeks, then that's probably the right one to go ahead and redo. You can go ahead and rinse out the majority of the hop matter, and should be fine.
Yeah,
I would go with it.
Agreed. I unfortunately am not brewing often enough to keep a yeast cake going. Mm-hmm. So I'm tending to start fresh every time. But on the other hand, I have my yeast cake from my last batch, and I'm trying to save it, and hopefully we'll brew this weekend or maybe next weekend.
Well, so. now see, at Heretic, don't want to get into the Heretic thing, but we're that's one big thing for us. It's like initially we're like, all right, you buy a pitch of yeast, it's $800, all right, at the size that we're doing. So $800. Can you imagine throwing $800 away every time you brew? And essentially that's what we had to do because, we weren't, back-to-back brewing. Now we've gotten to that point where we are, and it's wonderful because I save $800 per batch of beer, which translates into, $800 in savings. So, it's a huge difference for us. Where we're at, I guess, when we get bigger, then, $800 doesn't seem like such a big deal, but right now, it's considerable.
Right.
All right, we have another email from Kolsch Brewer, PFC. I have a question regarding reusing dry hops for bittering in the next batch. Specifically, do you know if alpha acids are extracted during dry hopping? Of course, they won't be isomerized and therefore add no bitters during dry hopping. But if the alpha acids do dissolve in cool beer, then there will be a smaller amount available to be isomerized when those same hops are added to the boil, throwing off the bittering calculations. Thanks and keep up the good work.
Oh, well, what happens is it's not necessarily being isomerized in the beer, but what happens is you get a rinsing effect. So especially using pellet hops, whatever, The lupulin and all that is, just scattered and dispersed, and you collect these hops. You're getting less of that material that could be isomerized in the next. So you will get, less bittering. What I would suggest is if you're looking for bittering, just get yourself a really high alpha acid hop. And, instead of reusing your dry hops from the previous batch, if you're not commercial brewing, spend the $1 and, just get yourself some fresh hops and use that for bittering. That would be my suggestion. You got something different, John?
No, that's what I would say too. I mean, I know I've listened to some talks where people say you can reuse dry hop and get some bittering out of them, but it just economically doesn't seem to make sense to me, unless the price of hops skyrockets again.
Right, even at $20 a pound.
Yeah. I mean, I use Magnum for bittering a lot. At 16%. I mean, gosh, it takes half an ounce to an ounce for a 5-gallon batcher. I mean, it's the amount I have to use is so small that even if I used a pound, 2 ounces of Centennial or something to dry hop with, it's so easy to add that half ounce of Magnum for most of my bittering that I don't worry about saving the Centennial. I save it for aroma, for dry hopping and so on.
Right. All right, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap the show up. Back after this.
Oh, what a great hike. Let's stop here. I need a quick bite.
Yeah, sounds good. Hey, I brought a couple of Brew Bar energy bars. You want one?
Awesome. I've heard about these, but I haven't tried one yet.
You've never tried one? But you're a home brewer and an athlete. Brew Bar energy bars are made by home brewers. What better way to merge your two passions? Rich barley malt paired with simple, all-natural ingredients. Here, crack that open and taste. I think you'll be surprised.
This tastes really good. It's a great flavor and so moist. Better than my usual energy bar.
I'm surprised you waited this long.
Well, I've been meaning to try them. I've even seen the write-ups in the brewing magazines. It's just too bad my local homebrew shop doesn't stock them yet.
And you've put your request in for them? Some homebrew shops need to get requests for new products before they'll pull the trigger. Until then, you can always get free shipping when you order online at brewbar.com. In fact, enter BN Army for a 15% discount. Homebrew clubs can also get an additional special discount for larger orders.
Good idea. I'll definitely ask my local shop to carry these.
All-natural Brew Bar energy bars are now available at brewbar.com, morebeer.com, and other fine homebrew shops across the country. That's BRUBAR. Look for them at your local homebrew shop. Remember, it's in your Brew Bar energy bar because it's in your brew.
Set out to design a great brewing stand. They knew it had to be strong, adaptable, and last for a lifetime. The top-tier brewing stand is now proudly available at BlickmanEngineering.com. It grows with your brewing skills and equipment. Start with 5-gallon coolers on its heavy-gauge stainless steel shelves. Then move all the way up to 30-gallon pots on the high-output burner tiers. Speaking of burners, the custom Blickman Engineering top-tier burners are extremely powerful, efficient, and amazingly quiet. They have safety stops to center your pot, and they'll last a lifetime and won't rust. The top-tier brewing stand allows virtually infinite combinations from traditional gravity systems to 2 tiers to completely horizontal. Configure your stand the way you want and have the freedom to change it at any time in the future. Your brewing stand should adapt with you, not force you to learn a new process. Visit BlickmanEngineering.com today to configure your top-tier brewing stand and to find a local Blickman retailer. You'll be surprised with all the flexible features and the competitive price. Start brewing with Blickman from the top tier.
In a world where everything has been lost.
What happened to the city? It's in ruins.
Only one man has the ancient knowledge to restore civilization.
I need a drink. Oh no, the liquor store's been ransacked.
You looking for beer, stranger? Boy, all the liquor got drunk up in the first 25 minutes of the apocalypse.
Wait, there's still some bottles over... Oh, no. Those are non-alcoholic beer.
Hey, I reckon you better stick to arrowroot tea and a desperate nomadic existence like the rest of us.
People, I'm a home brewer. I know how to make alcohol.
It can't be done.
Come with me if you want the beer. Okay, I'm gonna need some big plastic buckets.
He is the chosen one. The prophecies say that he's gonna get us wasted.
Someone start heating water. And
From the creators of Northern Brewer, the people who brought you $7.99 Brew Saver shipping, massive selection, and superior customer service comes the home brewer.
Hi, I'm Jamel Zanishev, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zanishev. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Hello? Hey, Drew, it's Push. You want to do some lunch?
Oh, can. I'm reading something important.
What?
Hello?
John, it's Push.
Hey, this is John, and I'm busy reading right now, so please...
What is going on?
This is Sven.
Hey, you busy?
Yeah, I am. I'm reading Gordon's new book.
From Brewers Publications and the only homebrewer to win the coveted National Homebrew Competition Ninkasi Award 3 times, comes a complete look at technical, practical, and creative homebrewing. Brewing Better Beer by Gordon Strong.
What sets this book apart is its insistent focus on what's important for the homebrewer. Like a great beer, it's extremely well balanced. A mix of technical, practical, and creative advice that, if taken to heart, will make your beer a whole lot better.
You'll learn Gordon's techniques and philosophy, recipes and tips to take your homebrew to the next level. Brewing Better Beer. Master lessons for advanced homebrewers. Proudly available now from Brewers Publications.
Hey, what are you doing, man?
Writing a review of WLP 400.
What? You're reviewing yeast?
Yeah. White Labs has home brewer reviews of all their strains. Are you new to these interwebs? Check it out.
That's awesome.
White Labs, your source for great yeast, invites all brewers to visit whitelabs.com to read and write your own reviews of all their yeast strains. Get real-world tips and tricks from other brewers who have made the most of their vials and post your own experiences. It's another way White Labs brings you closer to the best yeast on the planet.
And send. There you go.
You misspelled flocculate, dude.
What? Mother...
White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right. We got time for one last question here in this Q&A. If you're listening live, stay tuned. We got one more show of live Q&A going on. If you're listening to the archives, send your questions to brewstrong at thebrewingnetwork.com. Preface it with Q&A or questions. If you got a show idea, preface the subject matter with show idea, and we'll get to them as quick as possible. But time to wrap this one up so it fits on one CD for all you folks without an MP3 player in your car.
Losers. It's actually a comment, and then I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen to the new Q&A show from 5/16/11 while I was mowing the yard. While you were talking about being cremated and brewed in a beer, I thought that was a cool idea. Then it dawned on me, with my luck, I would flocculate out. Anyway, I had to throw that in there. Baxter in the chat room says, here's my question. Regarding sanitizing equipment, I know that plastic cannot be trusted and should be replaced frequently, but what about rubber stoppers? I notice mine get brown and discolored after a while. Can they be cleaned, sanitized, or should they be used a few times and then tossed?
Used a few times and tossed.
Yeah, rubber stoppers?
Yeah.
Jamammer, what do you think?
Well, it depends on what you're doing with them. I mean, if they're turning brown quickly, what are you
cracking.
doing? I mean, where are you placing those stoppers that they're turning brown quickly? That's what I want to know. If it's it depends on the surface. Again, the reason that plastic is an issue is because it easily scratches. If you rub it with your hand, unless you have just incredibly delicate hands like JP, you're going to scratch that plastic surface.
Yeah. Never a day of hard labor in my life.
That's right.
That's what these hands.
You have manly hands like Mr. Palmer.
Yeah.
Then those will scratch the plastic surface.
He's very calloused.
And those surfaces, when they're scratched, they harbor bacteria, yeast, and things like that, and it becomes difficult to clean them and properly sanitize them. So the same thing is true for the rubber stoppers. The discoloration, things like that. Usually when something's discolored, it has absorbed, a certain amount of material, and that can be an issue. But generally, the neat things about the rubber stoppers is you can throw them into some boiling water, and they will withstand that, and that sanitize them fairly well, so you can reuse them again. When they get real hard, they're hard to use to get a good seal on your vessel. So that's a good indicator to replace them as well. So if you can afford it, I'd replace them more often. Otherwise, you can try boiling them every so often, and that tends to kill the critters if you get them hot enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's the last question. As I said, if you're listening live, stay tuned. We got another Q&A show coming up. If you're listening to the archive, make sure you join us in the future. Also, check out our great sponsor, BlickmanEngineering.com, Blickman with 2 N's. We're going to have him in the studio here coming up in August, so stay tuned for that. That ought to be a lot of fun. He's a great, creative, funny guy, and it'll be a real blast. So check out BlickmanEngineering.com. Check out the Brewing Network store. Lots of goodies in there. John's excellent book, How to Brew, the foundation of everybody should have that book. No kidding. That's a good way to learn everything.
Also check out Brewing Classic Styles and the Yeast book by Jamil.
Okay.
And Chris.
Until the next show. Brew strong.
Brew strong, everybody.